back to digital ID then, and well, let's have a look at what the EU is doing. So they have published, well, after 2 years of negotiations, they've published their digital identity reform documents. It's called the EIDAS regulation. This is going to establish a fully harmonized framework for a legally binding identification of people, proving attributes about them, and for logging into websites and so on. So what are we talking about with attributes? Well, if you remember what the British government had published on digital identity, they were saying that one type of digital identity which could be developed under the trust framework is similar to a wallet, but created securely on your device. It allows you to store various trusted pieces of information about yourself. We call these pieces of personal information attributes, and you can choose when and with whom you share them, but probably never your whole wallet of information. And it says this could include disclosing details from the government, such as your legal name, date of birth, right to reside, to work, or to study, as well as details from your organization, from other organizations, such as your professional qualifications or your employment history. Well, the question then is, well, what about GDPR in the EU? Surely that is going to protect people. Well, actually not, because they are beating GDPR by excluding digital ID from EU-wide regulation. So member states can set their own rules. So, for example, in Ireland, they have their own rules set with respect to, for example, Facebook. So if Facebook Ireland were to demand data on an individual, that would be okay EU-wide because the Irish regulator says so, and it would completely subvert GDPR, for example, under this new regulations. Well, what about the wallet itself? Well, the original idea was that the wallet should be open source software entirely, and that people should be able to see how that works. But in fact, they've rolled back on that somewhat, and whereas the software that might appear on your phone would be open source, the server end of it would be not open source, so no idea what is happening at that end. And then we have the question of the issue of the websites themselves and any websites we might be communicating with, because of course over the years more and more websites are using SSL to encrypt communications between the browser and the website, and in fact what the EU is doing with this, it is creating what they're calling QWACs. And this is basically a requirement that the browser manufacturers put a government-issued certificate onto the browser, a root certificate onto the browser, which then, the potential of this is really significant in terms of security, because what they could do is they could create effectively a man-in-the-middle attack. So you would think that you're connecting to the UK column, or you would think that you're connecting to the BBC, but in fact what you're connecting to is an EU government website, which is masquerading as, or at least as far as the SSL certificate is concerned, is pretending to be another website. So they could effectively route your traffic through a website of their own in order to work out, because at the moment, if an SSL connection, they can know that you're connecting to a particular website, but they don't know which pages you're browsing or what you're doing there, because that's all encrypted. They want to get that level of detail. So this new situation is pretty significant if the EU continues to pursue it, but this was agreed today. Well, we need to see what the next steps are. We've got to remember that this type of policy is being rolled out right across the Western world, at least EU, UK, and the United States. So whatever one lot does, the others follow on with. But we've seen the same type of exercise or the same type of policy through the legislation in the UK as well.
Okay, and ducks, I think, come into this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes. If we want to know more about QWACs, have a look at this Electronic Frontier Foundation article, What the Duck, Why an EU Proposal to Require QWACs Will Hurt Internet Security. Now, this was published in February 2022. It becomes relevant as of today.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mike.